guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are discussing the downsides of full-time travel.
Yeah, we often discuss what's amazing about full-time travel, about our life, but we do get asked from time to time, what are the downsides? So we did want to share that with you. We've got quite a few things listed here we're going to go over with you that we see as the major downsides to full-time travel. So the first one is going to be that your friendships with people are going to be different.
Exactly. When we were in the US full-time, you see your friends on a regular basis, you can meet up and do things and travel to places together nearby. It's a lot more difficult, and it does require a lot more effort on both sides, and sometimes those friendships don't carry through with that effort. So you do have to be prepared to not fully continue some of the friendships that you had when you were there live in person, and also just the putting forth of more effort, especially when you have big time zone changes. Like we're in Thailand right now, so there's a 13-hour time difference from our home in Atlanta, where we come from in Atlanta, Georgia. So, that can be a little bit challenging to try to set up calls with people and things like that. But you find ways of, working around that, but that is something that does take some work.
Yeah, I think the second downside to full-time travel is it does take tons of planning just from a logistics standpoint. And I spend a lot of time planning out flights and where we're going to be staying. You have to figure that all out every single month. And it can be a lot to figure out. Now, once you have done it for a little while, it becomes much, much easier because you kind of have a go-to system, go-to place you're going to go to. You know what to look for. You're going to pick better places. But that first year, it can be a little daunting. And that's why I would recommend in your first year, take it slow. Don't try to do 30 places because you're going to have to pick a new place to stay every 3 days. So take your time and don't put so much stress on yourself of having to do all that research.
Yeah, that planning is definitely one of the bigger challenges, because if you're at home, everything's already planned out. You know where you're staying, you know what you're eating, you already have transportation, you have your entertainment at home. But when you have no permanent home, then you have to plan where that will be every time.
The next one is that you're going to miss your home, and you're going to miss possibly some important moments at home. That's unavoidable if you're spending a lot of time traveling. Now, if something is super important, you could always come back for it. We have done that. We've come back for graduations and things like that, and haven't missed anything major. But from time to time, we do find ourselves missing home. And by home, I mean just the type of home that we had in Georgia. But then we always say, yeah, but after I was back in it for 2 or 3 weeks, I would want to leave again. So it's kind of
we literally just said that yesterday.
It's kind of just that, yeah, I miss it, but I don't want it. I don't want to do it again. So that kind of does make it tough.
Yeah, and I think adding on to that is the fact that your stuff changes every week or every month, however long, whenever you move places, your things will change. So you got a new TV setup, you may get an upgrade or a downgrade depending on where you went. Same thing with like your kitchen. Sometimes I have a washer and a dryer, sometimes I have just a washer, sometimes I have neither. So we either have to take our clothes out to a laundromat or have it laundered or do it by hand. All those types of things, dishwashers. Last apartment we had a dishwasher. This apartment we don't. Just different things like that. Everything's going to change, so there's not a set, kind of standard of things that you have like you would in a home.
Yeah, I think also another thing that is a downside is you will miss a lot of the food that you want. You wouldn't think you would, because we're mostly in places you can get a lot of international food, but you'd be surprised at how much you want a specific brand, a specific way it's cooked. And that kind of comes in after a few months. And when you're just starting out, it's like, oh, this is great, I can get all this food. And then you want that one specific thing that you used to always get at home, and you can't get it, and it does kind of eat at you that you can't get it.
As it turns out, probably there are two of the fast food places that we eat at from time to time when we're in the U.S. which we don't even eat fast food a lot, but you get the craving when you're out of the country for it. And unfortunately for us, the two places that we like, neither of them are international, and that's Chick-fil-A and Zaxby's, and this is not an ad.
Yeah.
But neither of them is overseas, so we don't get to have either of those. So generally, that's one of the first meals that we have when we come back to the U.S.
You can get a lot of food. Like you can get pretty much Pizza Hut, McDonald's, any of that stuff anywhere.
Even like you can get KFC, Wendy's, Burger King, all those American ones. If you're looking, if you're staying overseas for a long time, you want like a taste of home, and that's usually the places that you gear towards. But unfortunately, the ones that we're looking for are not here.
I did see a Krispy Kreme in town the other day. So,
they do have that. If you want a donut.
Yeah, missing food is a big one. Another one is missing sporting events for me. Missing live events. Last night was kind of a treat because the NFL game was being played in London, so it was 9:30 a.m. Eastern time back home, but here it was 8:30 p.m. So I got to watch it like it was a Sunday night football. But then a lot of the games come on at midnight here. The 1 o'clock games back home come on at midnight, and then the games that come on at 4 p.m. at home, they're on at 3 a.m. So we don't get to watch those.
We're not that hardcore.
No, we miss a lot of that. Anything that's on at night back home, we're gonna miss because it's on early in the morning.
Yeah, for live.
But it really depends on where you are. This is basically only if you're in Asia. If you're in Europe or you're in Latin America, Canada, that's all fine then. You will still have the food issue, but you will not have the event issue. So sometimes we go as far as to plan our travels around it. We try to be in North America in the fall because we do like to watch football and the baseball playoffs. So keep that in mind, because you wouldn't think it'd be a big deal, but it can be a big deal depending on what you like to do.
Yeah, definitely you want to plan your travels, geared towards that if that's something that matters to you, which it does to us. So
also gear them towards being closer to home at Christmas so that people want to come visit you. That's why we kind of tend to be in North America in the fall, because of all those reasons. The next one is that it is harder to make money when you're doing full-time travel. Obviously, you should figure that out before you leave. But you do spend so much time moving around that even if you're working kind of in a freelancing job, if you're at home and you're just kind of in your home that you own in the U.S., you don't really have interruptions. If you're doing full-time travel, you're going to have a couple of day interruption every month. If you're moving countries, moving apartments, it can take you a few days to get it set up, and it will cut into your productivity by 20%.
And on top of that, again, the time zone changes is also going to come into consideration if you're still doing some work for a company at home, or even freelance work. If they want a meeting or anything like that, it may end up being like in the middle of the night. We've done interviews and meetings with people at like 5 a.m. our time, where it's like the afternoon to them. So there's definitely some challenges on that.
Yeah, I think all these things together are the downsides, but I do believe that the upsides far outweigh these, and we wouldn't change it. But we want to be honest with you and let you know what some of the bad things are, because not everything is always the rosiest. But this is what you got to look out for. I would say if you can kind of navigate these things, it's pretty good. It's pretty good to be doing this, and we totally enjoy it, and I don't think we would change it.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully this is helpful to you if you're thinking about doing full-time travel. Definitely some things for you to take into consideration and discuss and just think about. Guys, if you have any other questions, please leave those down below in the comments. We will be down there answering those questions for you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share this video, and we'll see you next time.